How can I run an untrusted executable on Linux safely? I have downloaded an executable compiled by a third party and I need it to run on my box Ubuntu 16.04 x 64 with full access to HW resources such as CPU and GPU through NVIDIA drivers. Suppose this executable contains a virus or backdoor, how should I run it? Should I create a new user, run it with it and then delete the user itself? Edit. Not approving the answer below yet because FireJail might not be working. Edit 2. FireJail is okay, but one has to be extremely careful in specifying all the options in terms of blacklist and whitelist. By default it does not do what is cited in this Linux Magazine article, see also some comments from FireJail author. Be extremely careful when you use it, it might give you a false sense of security without the right options.
First and foremost, if it's a very high-risk binary, you would have to set up an isolated physical machine, run the binary, then physically destroy the HDD, the motherboard, and basically all the rest. Because in this day and age, even your robot vacuum can spread malware. And what if the program already infected your microwave through the PC speaker using high-frequency data transmit? But, let's take off that tinfoil hat and jump back to reality for a bit. No virtualization, quick to use, FireJail. It is packaged already on Ubuntu, it is very small, has virtually no dependencies. How to install on Ubuntu? Sudo apt-get install FireJail. Website, this URL. Package info. I had to run a similar, untrusted, binary just a few days ago. And my search led to this very cool small program. Virtualization, KVM, VirtualBox. This is the safest bet. Depending on the binary. But hey, see above. If it's been sent by Mr. Hacker, who is a black belt, black hat programmer, there is a chance the binary can escape the virtualized environment. Malware binary, cost saver method, rent a machine. A virtual one. Example virtual server providers, Amazon, AWS, Microsoft, Azure, DigitalOcean, Linode, Volta, Ramnode. You rent the machine, run whatever you need, then they will wipe them off. Most of the bigger providers bill by the hour, so it really is cheap.
From FireJail man page. This is a high-level description. There are other things going on. For example, /boot is blacklisted, and so are /spin and /usr/spin. This URL. You can also look at this document, this URL. They have a very good description of the file system.
Just run it on a separate install, set up a separate install on an external drive or another hard drive, make sure your main install's permissions are not mounted, or better yet, disconnect them, and test. You can back this up pre-install in case you need it again, and nuke it once you're done. It's a much more robust method than sandboxing/jailing, and you can confidently treat the second install as disposable and or use it only when needed.
Just run live from an ISO. All file system changes are only stored in RAM, and lost/reset on reboot, provided nothing wrote to any storage drives. Bare metal hardware can be directly accessed, and no worries about jailbreaking or VM escaping. You're only limited in /file system space available to write new files. You could also completely disconnect your main hard drive, if you're worried it could get overwritten, if not read and shared, and run the ISO from a USB drive, X-thumb drive, external hard drive, or even a second hard drive similar to Journeyman Geek's answer, but it's a lot easier to make a bootable USB than a full install, IMO. If you have enough RAM, maybe 4 GB plus, you might be able to copy the entire file system into RAM, and then unplug the USB drive, so even the USB can't be written to. If supported, the boot option to copy everything into RAM is often something like torm. With many ISOs, it's even possible to copy the ISO file to, for example, the boot partition of your currently installed hard drive, and then use grub to boot from the ISO directly. Although it doesn't work for every ISO, and might need some special boot parameters, for example MX Linux can use fromiso sadface ISO file, blab sadface partition label, etc. It's quite robust, with tools to create an ISO from a running system, write the ISO to a USB drive, persistence optional, and even a frugal install where basically the contents of an ISO are booted from a hard drive partition. Watch out for programs that automatically create a bootable USB with persistence. Those would save changes to the USB, but even persistence could probably be disabled with some boot options. There is firmware that could be corrupted in your motherboard, storage drives, GPU/video cards, and of course network devices, if you're considering handing complete control over to this mystery executable. Apache was basically correct in his tinfoil hat intro.
If you watch this channel, please consider liking and subscribing.